Now, the coolest toy to have growing up during the era of the original Star Wars was, of course, the Kenner vintage figures. But what was the coolest role-playing toy? Yep, lightsabers. They had everything from inflatable lightsabers to plastic lightsabers. And today, we're going to look at a lightsaber that almost got released. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with yet another video. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to look at a Kenner lightsaber that got very close to being released. Very close. I mean, you got concept art, you got a prototype of the lightsaber, and you actually have stored displays made of it. So, before we get into this cool lightsaber, as always, become a Patreon supporter. Head over to patreon.com. Links in the description below. There you become a Patreon supporter. Get exclusive access to the Facebook, commentary, sometimes outtakes. Never know what you're going to get there. Or go to thatjunkman.com and buy a cool t-shirt like that one right there. Now, I've got all that out of the way. I know you're sick of hearing it. So let's go back to 1979, where Kenner was getting ready for the release of The Empire Strikes Back, still over a year away, but they had to up their game. In 1978, they released the inflatable Star Wars lightsaber. That was horrible. I don't know why they came up with this when a piece of plastic would have done just as good. Hell, as a kid, we used to play with those rolled up cardboards that would come with wrapping paper. Just take that off. Sure, it wouldn't last long, but it was better than an inflatable lightsaber that would pop, and it had to come with patches so you could patch holes in it. It was the dumbest thing ever. So, for the Empire Strikes Back release, they knew they had to up their game. And you're thinking it's a lightsaber. It's going to be simple, a handle and a plastic tube. But no, Kenner had different things in mind. A battery-operated lightsaber, which they called the Gyroscope Lightsaber. This one would make a humming, buzzing sound, and the saber blade would spin around, giving it more of a realistic effect. When it comes to gyro lightsabers, that's kind of how they made the Star Wars lightsabers in A New Hope, with a spinning blade that they reflected the light off of.
The effect of the lightsaber was basically a rotating pole that had movie screen material applied to it so that it would reflect its light source back at many times the intensity.
Now, before we look at the final product, let's take a look at the concept art. There's two different versions they were working on. One had a base at the bottom for most of the electronics inside the handle. Another one had this base, donut, round part if you want to call it. I'm not sure what you want to call it. More at the top of the lightsaber handle. If you ask me, the bottom one looks better, and that's the one they were going to end up going with. And here it is right here. As you can see in this concept art, it still has the familiar early Star Wars logo before The Empire Strikes Back, and it says lightsaber. The plastic round part, which I call the donut, near the center, will house a lot of the electronics needed for the lightsaber, while the handle base will hold the batteries. Like I said, there was another concept that ended up getting closer to production. Let's take a look at it. And here it is, again with that same Star Wars logo that says the lightsaber. As you can see here, that round donut part that was near the center of the last concept art has been moved to the bottom, which is probably a lot better place for it. Now, I said this toy got close to being released. In fact, one was shown at Toy Fair in early 1980, before the release of Empire. Let's take a look at that one that showed up at Toy Fair. Here's the Gyroscopic Lightsaber with the normal released Empire Strikes Back whoosh saber below. As you can see here, the Gyro saber was a little longer, and you had the donut base at the bottom. Looking at this close-up photo of the tip, you can also see that the tip was slightly different. The big difference between the release saber and the planned saber is, of course, the handle. On the unreleased Gyro lightsaber, it has a red button that would be used to turn the lightsaber on. Now, this item got so close to release, not only was there a box made for it, there was a stored display made for it also. First, let's look at the box. The blue lightsaber box would show Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, with a photo of two lucky kids playing lightsabers. The box read, "The Force Lightsaber, Action Light, Sounds, and Rotating Gyro Handle." And here we can see a stored display of how they would show off the lightsabers. Now here's a closer look at the proof artwork of the box used for the lightsaber. It's a little different that at this time period they were thinking of doing artwork, when most of the toys under Kenner released during The Empire Strikes Back used mostly scenes from the film or production photos. Now let's take a look at one of the luckiest kids ever. I'm not sure what his name is, but it's probably Timmy. Timmy Thompson is what I would name him, but I'm not really sure. But he got to hold this unreleased lightsaber. Take a look. And here's Timmy Thompson in his brown slacks, his button-up blue shirt, and a nice brown kid's belt. And I'm glad to say, although he has an ugly haircut, it's not the ugly early 80s bowl haircut that a lot of kids had. But here he is holding the unreleased Gyro Lightsaber. Now for some reason, Timmy also got his photo taken wearing a nice little sweater. Here he is with a big grin on his face. He looks a lot like this kid that my uncle had photos of that he kept under the bed. He didn't wear a sweater. Anyway, this was the lightsaber that almost got released. We're not really sure why this never got released, but when it comes to most toys that didn't get released, there's usually the simple answer of they went with something cheaper to produce. So what did we get? The Force lightsaber that made the swishing sound. Didn't use batteries, didn't have wires, it just had cuts at the top of the blade where the wind would hit it and make a swoosh sound. A lot cheaper to produce, I'm sure. Anyway, that's a look at the unreleased Gyro Lightsaber. I would have loved to see this thing get released. It sure was a lot better than the inflatable Star Wars lightsaber they came up with. Not really sure who the ad wizards are that came up with that one. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. Would you have liked to see this lightsaber released instead of the one that did get released? Or are you happy with the one they did release that made the swoosh sound when you swung it? Let me know that or whatever else you want me to know in the comments below. And as always, please subscribe to my channel. Thumb up so I know you like that content. And I'll be back again very soon.